Hello, I'm Joey Klinger. I serve as pastor of Redemption Lutheran Church, dean of the Northeast Northwest Conference, and most importantly for this video, the Synod Parliamentarian. This is my second year in the role, and I'm excited for us to have a productive and faithful Synod Assembly. You may be asking yourself, so what is a parliamentarian? I'm here to offer advice, guidance, and expertise in how our assembly is run. Our assembly needs rules for gathering and discussion, and our Synod Constitution states that these rules come from the Robert's Rules of Order. I don't have time to take you through all of Robert's rules, but if you have served on your church council or really any other board or organization, you've probably used a form of these rules. My goal in the next few minutes is to take you through what to expect of our Synod Assembly and introduce you to the tools you will need. First, before you arrive at Synod Assembly, you should have a chance to read through all the documents that are listed on the Ministry Link website. These include things like the budget we will be voting on, possible changes to the Synod Constitution, the nominees up for election, any memorials that were proposed, and the process for electing our next bishop. As stated in the email that you will receive from the Synod in preparation for Assembly, if you'd like to refer to these documents during our Assembly, you can find them on the Synod website at www.ministrylink.org/2024-Synod-Assembly. Or if you worked ahead, you can print out the documents before the meeting or save them onto your phone or tablet device that you'll bring with you. We will not have internet availability at our meeting space for everyone, so you will need to use your own cellular data to download any documents you don't pre-download before the assembly. We will also be projecting what is being discussed on screens in front of the assembly, so you can follow along that way as well. The first and probably most important document that you will find is the agenda. This agenda will guide when we meet and what we discuss in the assembly. It is one of the first things that we will approve. If you are wondering what we're talking about or don't know what the topic coming up is, be sure to check the agenda first. The agenda can also change. We will always vote on those changes from the floor, so you will always know what is happening. We will be voting on multiple topics at this assembly. Most of the actual voting will take place via digital devices that will be distributed upon your arrival at assembly. There will be an orientation to teach you how to use those devices, and that will be given during the assembly. For more general votes, ones that don't require such specification and vote count, like the acceptance of the agenda, we will make use of green and red cards that you will be given when you arrive. A raised green card means a yes vote, and a raised red card will mean a no vote. The bishop or whoever is chairing the meeting will indicate when you are to vote and to hold up your cards. We'll be voting over the next 2 days on candidates for Synod Council, candidates to attend churchwide assembly, and of course a new bishop. We'll also vote on a budget for the future of our Synod, as well as any proposed memorials. The process for voting on nominees differs slightly from budget and memorials, and is also different from the process of electing a bishop. So I'd like to take just a brief moment to go through each three of those separately. First, we'll look at nominations. For positions throughout the Synod, you will hear a nomination report at the assembly. If a position has one nominee and one position open, you will hear the name of the nominee and the position read, and then the floor will be open for nominations, meaning someone else can be nominated for that position that has been stated. Nominations from the floor can be made at this time. If you wish to nominate someone from the floor, please make sure you clear it with the nominee before nominating them. If there is a nominee from the floor, they will have to fill out nomination paperwork to be added to the ballot to be voted on later. If, however, there are no nominees from the floor and we still only have one person for one position open, then that person will be declared elected, as they are the only person running. If a position is vacant, with no nominees presented and none from the floor, then the Synod Council will appoint someone to that position at a later date. So for nominations, listen to the report from the nominating committee. That is the only time to add nominees from the floor. Then later on in the assembly, we will vote on the positions that need a vote because there are more nominees than openings. Moving on to voting on budgets and memorials. Voting on the budget and memorials, again, is a little different. The budget has been provided to you and comes from the assembly already proposed by Synod Council, the board of the Synod. This means you will see it presented, the Synod Treasurer will make comments about the budget. Similarly, some memorials will come from Synod Council and some from members of our congregations. These memorials will be presented by the people who submitted them. Memorials are proposals for how the Synod should act or to be handed on to the national church and how they should act. There will be time for discussion and debate about both the budget and memorials. If you have something to say about anything being proposed during this time, this is when you can approach one of the numbered microphones throughout the space. Please be sure when you approach a microphone you have your green card or red card showing to indicate if you wish to speak in favor of passage or against passage of whatever is being discussed at the time. Again, green in favor, red against. We try and alternate between speaking in favor and against as debate is had. If you have a procedural question or a question of clarity, that is when you can approach the microphone with your white card. Please do not speak at the microphone till you are called on by the chair, which most of the time will be our bishop. Once you have spoken, please remain at the mic, especially if you are asking a question, so that we can be sure we address it appropriately. After time for discussion and debate is exhausted, a vote will be called, and you can vote in favor, against, or abstain for things like the budget or memorials or any other item being discussed. Finally, the last thing that we will be voting on is a new bishop. This is an intricate process that luckily we have some help explaining. I will not be explaining this right now, but the process will be presented in documentation on the website, and in person at the assembly there will be a presentation to take us through the process, so stay tuned. One more thing about those white cards. Your white card can be used outside of the normal debate and voting time as well. If you have a question about procedure, if you have a question about what's going on, you can flash your white card and approach a microphone, and once the chair recognizes you, you can ask your question. Remember, always wait for the chair to recognize you before you start speaking at the microphone. I would encourage you, however, in order to save time, to first ask those around you for help before holding up the meeting to ask a question at the microphone. You can also use your white card to end debate on an issue by calling the question. Calling the question means ending debate and forcing a vote on what is currently before the assembly. If you call the question, it will force all of us to stop and vote on if we're ready to end debate. If the assembly votes to end debate, then we will immediately vote on what's before us. If the call the question vote fails, then the debate time will continue. Finally, I encourage you to have fun, to soak up this experience. It's very rare that our whole synod gathers together to worship, make decisions, and see where the Spirit is guiding us. So try and learn and be a part of all you can. If you have any questions about this process, any questions about Robert's rules that I might help with, you can always reach out to me directly. My email is pastor@redemptionphiladelphia.org. That's all spelled out, pastor@redemptionphiladelphia.org. And I look forward to seeing you all at this year's assembly.